Success is rarely the product of luck or coincidence. More often than not, it's the result of deliberate, focused planning and the refusal to settle for mediocrity. To make the most of a year like 2025, a person must first internalize the idea that greatness is not accidental. It is engineered through conscious design and committed execution. This starts with purpose. Purpose is not simply a motivational buzzword. It's the compass by which every decision, action, and sacrifice is measured. Without it, people drift aimlessly, reacting to life instead of creating it. To begin crafting a life of intention, the first and most crucial step is clarity. One must be brutally honest with themselves about where they are, where they want to go, and why it matters. This self-assessment isn't about judgment or shame. It's about establishing a foundation rooted in truth. From that truth, a vision begins to form, not just a wishful idea of the future, but a clear picture of what life could and should look like if one fully commits to growth, discipline, and execution. That vision is then broken down into goals, concrete, measurable targets that move a person closer to their ideal reality. But planning alone isn't enough. The power of planning lies in its alignment with intentional action. There is no magic in writing goals down if they aren't followed by a rigorous strategy for achievement. That's where structure enters the conversation. Without structure, even the most compelling goals fall flat. Structure transforms ideas into systems, and systems into habits. These habits, daily, seemingly mundane routines, are the true architects of progress. Whether it's waking up early to gain clarity before the world starts moving, blocking off time for focused work, or reviewing goals weekly, these intentional acts form the backbone of execution. Designing a structured life requires discipline, but it also demands the elimination of distraction. Distraction is the enemy of focus, and in the age of constant notifications and endless entertainment, it's easy to fall victim to reactive living. To win a year like 2025, one must protect their time like it's their most valuable resource, because it is. This means saying no to things that don't serve the mission. It means setting boundaries, creating environments that support productivity, and surrounding oneself with people who align with the same principles. Every minute spent out of alignment is a minute stolen from the vision. Vision-driven living also requires flexibility without compromise. A structured plan should serve as a guide, not a prison. Life will inevitably throw challenges, detours, and surprises. The difference between those who progress and those who stagnate is the ability to adjust without abandoning the mission. This means recalibrating strategies when necessary, learning from failures instead of internalizing them, and continuing to move forward with purpose even when motivation fades. Execution is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Consistency, over time, even in the face of setbacks, is what creates transformation. Purposeful planning also demands emotional commitment. It's one thing to intellectually understand a goal, but it's another to be emotionally invested in it. That emotional connection is the fuel that sustains action when the journey becomes difficult. It's what keeps a person locked in when results are slow or external validation is absent. Connecting goals to a deeper why is essential. It's not enough to want to get fit, make more money, or be more productive. The question is, what does that achievement represent? What deeper need or calling does it fulfill? When the why is strong enough, the how becomes manageable. The act of engineering success is also about anticipating obstacles. It's naive to think that the path will be smooth. Challenges are inevitable. But when one plans with foresight, they are not caught off guard. They expect the dips in energy, the setbacks in progress, and the distractions that will test their commitment. And because they've planned for it, they've built in support systems, accountability partners, contingency plans, emotional coping mechanisms that help them stay on track. The key is not in avoiding hardship, but in building the resilience and tools to overcome it. Another essential element of intentional planning is reflection. Without reflection, it's easy to get lost in motion and mistake busyness for progress. Weekly, monthly, and quarterly reflections create opportunities to measure progress, celebrate wins, and recalibrate strategies. This builds momentum and prevents complacency. It also reinforces the belief that one is in control of their life, that their results are not dictated by chance, but by choice. This self-empowerment becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more one believes they are the architect of their destiny, the more they act in alignment with that truth. Planning with purpose also forces a person to confront their identity. Who do they need to become in order to live the life they envision? This question is uncomfortable but necessary. Too often, people try to achieve new results with an old mindset. But transformation doesn't occur without identity shift. Planning becomes a mirror. It reflects back what must change, what must be released, and what must be cultivated. That could mean letting go of limiting beliefs, shedding toxic habits, or embracing disciplines that feel unnatural at first. It's about choosing to evolve intentionally. Ultimately, intentional living is about ownership. It's about accepting full responsibility for one's outcomes, no matter how difficult or unfair the circumstances may be. It's easy to blame others, to point to the economy, to highlight a lack of support or opportunity. But ownership says, regardless of what's happened, I am responsible for what happens next. That mindset transforms victims into victors. It restores agency, and with agency comes action. And with action comes change. There's a certain dignity and power that emerges when a person takes the reins of their life and says, this year is mine. This is the year I stop waiting. This is the year I stop reacting. This is the year I plan with precision, move with purpose, and execute with discipline. That mindset is the cornerstone of engineered greatness. It's not about hoping 2025 will be different. It's about deciding that it will be, and building the systems, habits, and mindset to make that decision inevitable. Planning with purpose is not simply about writing down goals or setting vague resolutions. It is about intentional design, about creating a life that doesn't just happen to you but unfolds because you made it so. When you engineer your day, you are taking control of time rather than allowing time to control you. It begins with clarity, knowing exactly what you want out of the year, the quarter, the week, and even the day. Without that clarity, it's easy to become reactive, to drift through days filled with distractions and emergencies that take you further from where you intend to go. The foundation of any meaningful transformation starts with structure. Not the kind that is rigid or suffocating, but one that supports your vision and holds you accountable to your higher self. You wake up not to scroll your phone or to fall into the cycle of urgency, but to execute on a plan that aligns with your vision. Each hour has a purpose. Each task is deliberate. Every decision flows from a place of focus and awareness. To live with purpose is to live with design. Imagine walking into a house built without a blueprint. Rooms would be disjointed, utilities might be misplaced, and the house would not stand long. The same is true for life. Without a blueprint, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and months into another year where dreams remain untouched. When you sit down and intentionally plot out your day, you're laying bricks in the construction of that house. You're saying, this is who I am becoming, and here is what I must do today to move closer. Planning with purpose requires more than a to-do list. It means creating frameworks that guide your energy, not just your time. For instance, if you know that your peak creative energy hits in the morning, then you protect that time for deep work. You don't take meetings, you don't check email, you build. This is about aligning your internal rhythms with your external responsibilities, ensuring that your best energy goes to your most meaningful work. Frameworks also include morning routines, evening shutdown rituals, and periods of strategic reflection. When you begin your day with intention, through journaling, meditation, visualization, or goal review, you prime your mind to focus on what matters. You're not leaving your mindset up to chance. And when you close your day with reflection, asking what went well and what can be improved, you're not just ending a day, you're engineering the next one with insight. Purposeful planning also means being proactive about obstacles. It is naive to believe that each day will go according to plan, but the beauty of structure is that it gives you stability when things shift. If you know your values, if you've anchored your week in specific priorities, then you can make quick decisions in chaotic moments without losing your sense of direction. Planning in this way makes you resilient, not rigid. A critical piece of this is knowing your why. When the plan feels hard, when obstacles surface, or when you feel tired or discouraged, it's your why that pulls you forward. Planning without connecting to purpose is just scheduling. But when every block of time on your calendar reflects your values, whether that's health, growth, contribution, or legacy, your schedule becomes a mirror of who you are becoming. You don't just plan your work, you plan your identity. And planning doesn't mean filling every moment. In fact, purposeful planning often includes space to think, to rest, to be present. It's in that margin that clarity often returns. Great ideas are rarely born in the chaos of back-to-back meetings or endless task lists. They come when you've created room to breathe, to think strategically, and to evaluate whether the direction you're moving in is still the right one. This level of intentionality requires discipline, but not the kind that feels forced. It becomes a discipline born from desire. Because once you see your life changing, when the habits you set begin to yield results, when the clarity you created starts driving momentum, you crave the process. You understand that the plan isn't restrictive. It's liberating. It frees you from the tyranny of randomness. Moreover, engineering your day gives you tangible wins. Success isn't one giant leap. It's a series of small victories stacked over time. When you start each day with a clear plan and you execute even 70–80% of it, you build confidence. You reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. And that identity shift is the most powerful part of the process. You're no longer wishing for success, you're becoming someone who creates it. Even your setbacks become data. When a plan fails, it's not a sign to quit. It's a signal to adjust. Why didn't the plan work? Was the task too vague? Was your time allocation off? Were you trying to do too much in one day? Reflection becomes your feedback loop. It sharpens the blade. Each week you learn, each week you grow. The plan evolves with you. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. A purpose-driven plan isn't designed to make you robotic. It's designed to make you relentless, focused, resilient, aligned. It gives you a system to fall back on when emotions fluctuate, when motivation dips, when circumstances shift. Because life will test you. But when you've engineered your day to reflect your values, your dreams, and your discipline, then you're not just reacting to life, you're leading it. That is the power of planning with purpose. You are no longer guessing. You're no longer hoping. You are executing with clarity, moving with intention, and building a life brick by brick, hour by hour, that reflects the greatness within you. Greatness is not a product of luck or coincidence. It is something that must be deliberately crafted, step by step, with purpose and precision. The idea that success can be left to chance is one of the most damaging beliefs a person can hold. If you want to win in 2025, the first and most important thing you must understand is that your time, energy, and mindset must be engineered with intention. Everything begins with a decision. A decision to take control of your life rather than waiting for circumstances to align themselves in your favor. Structure is the foundation of any meaningful success. Without a plan, even the most talented and motivated individual can easily become lost in the chaos of daily life. Creating structure means designing your day with purpose. It means waking up not just because the alarm rang, but because there is a clear vision for what you are working toward. It means building routines that reinforce the person you are becoming, not just the person you are now. The power of routine cannot be overstated. A well-crafted morning ritual, for instance, sets the tone for the entire day. Whether it includes exercise, journaling, reading, or strategic planning, that first hour of the day determines your momentum. The best performers in any field understand this and guard their routines with intensity. Intentional planning doesn't stop at daily routines. It extends to weeks, months, and even years ahead. If your goals for 2025 aren't on paper, you're not serious about them. Writing them down is not just an act of clarity, it's an act of commitment. When you commit something to paper, you give it form. You create accountability. Goals that live only in your mind are fragile. They're easily reshaped by fear, doubt, or distraction. But goals written with clarity, supported by specific plans and measurable actions, become real. They provide a roadmap and a reminder, especially when challenges arise. Planning your future means envisioning your highest self. It requires taking time to mentally rehearse who you want to be, how you want to show up, and what outcomes you want to create. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It is psychological priming. When you repeatedly see yourself succeeding in your mind, overcoming resistance, speaking with confidence, leading with clarity, you begin to bridge the gap between who you are now and who you must become. This mental rehearsal conditions the mind to look for opportunities to rise under pressure and to act with courage when it matters most. However, clarity and planning must be accompanied by preparation. You can't simply imagine a better future and expect it to arrive. You must prepare for it. Preparation includes gaining the skills, habits, and discipline required to support your goals. For example, if your goal is to lead others, preparation might mean refining your communication, reading leadership books, or practicing public speaking. If your goal is to build a business, it might mean learning finance, studying market trends, or developing resilience. Preparation transforms vision into capability. It eliminates the excuse of being caught off guard when opportunity finally knocks. Engineering success also means eliminating distractions that weaken your focus. In a world filled with noise, being intentional with your attention is a superpower. Every distraction, social media, toxic relationships, unnecessary obligations, comes at the cost of your momentum. You must learn to audit your environment and ask, does this serve my mission? If the answer is no, it must be addressed. Focus is not something that just happens. It is cultivated. And to cultivate it, you need boundaries. You need to protect your time and energy from the things that drain them, even if they're convenient or temporarily pleasurable. There's also a critical emotional component to engineering success: belief. Without belief in your ability to improve, evolve, and achieve, no amount of planning or structure will matter. But belief is not some abstract feeling. It's a muscle. It grows when you show up consistently, keep your promises to yourself, and face hard things instead of running from them. Every small win compounds. Every act of self-discipline is a deposit into your self-worth. Over time, belief becomes your baseline, not arrogance, not false confidence, but the deep knowing that you are capable of achieving what you've set out to do. Another essential aspect is accountability. You cannot afford to drift through 2025 with no feedback. Success loves structure, but it also demands measurement. Are you doing what you said you'd do? Are your actions aligned with your goals? If not, why? Tracking your progress, reviewing your habits, and reflecting on what's working or not working will keep you grounded. Without accountability, even the most detailed plan becomes just a fantasy. Real growth requires honest self-assessment and the courage to course correct when necessary. Being intentional also means managing your energy, not just your time. Time management gets a lot of attention, but without energy, time is useless. If your body is weak, your mind will follow.
If your sleep, nutrition, and movement are neglected, you'll struggle to show up with the intensity and clarity your goals demand. Optimizing energy means viewing your health not as a side concern, but as a strategic priority. Your physical
vitality affects your creativity, focus, resilience, and emotional intelligence, all essential tools for success. Equally important is the emotional environment you create for yourself. Are you feeding your mind with inspiration, education, and challenge? Or are you allowing negativity and doubt to take root? The content you consume shapes your thinking. The people you associate with influence your standards. Be ruthless about what and who you allow into your world. Curate your mental diet with the same intention you use to structure your schedule. Read books that sharpen your thinking. Listen to voices that pull you higher. Surround yourself with people who hold you to your potential. Ultimately, success is a byproduct of engineering every aspect of your environment, behavior, and mindset to align with the outcomes you desire. There is no magic. There is no shortcut, but there is power. Tremendous power in being intentional. This is not about perfection. It's about designing a system that supports you even when motivation fades. Because it will. And when it does, your systems, habits, and vision will carry you. The process of building yourself is the process of building your future. Every choice, every plan, every habit becomes a brick in the foundation of what you're creating. It's not glamorous, but it's effective.